Good morning. Welcome, both in the sanctuary and online, to the Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Church of St. Petersburg on the unceded ancestral grounds of the Tocobaga and Seminole Native Americans. My name is Bill Motter, and I am on the worship team. This morning, I'm filling in for Reverend Ben, who is feeling okay, but taking some COVID exposure precautions. I'm excited to bring you today's worship service, One World, Many Concerns, with special guest musician David Roth and today's worship associate, my brother John Motter. David put on a fantastic concert last night. I hope you were able to attend. And we're grateful for his return to the sanctuary this morning.
Thanks, Bill. We are a people of many beliefs, but we share a common faith that what we do in this world matters and that we are connected to one another and to our planet. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here. We just have one announcement for today. Following the worship service, we'll have a brief coffee hour. Please come back to the sanctuary after about 10 minutes for our congregational town hall, Let's Talk About Money. UU St. Pete Treasurer Trish Birch, I don't know if she's here yet, and our board president Rebecca Wilson will fill us in on the current state of the church budget and answer questions about the future. And childcare will be provided.
Thank you, John, and I want to give a special welcome to any newcomers. If you want a church where we truly believe that Black Lives Matter, that people with uteruses should control their own bodies, and that it's okay to say gay and be LGBTQIA+, I have good news for you. You may have found your church home. If you are new to UU St. Pete, or even relatively new, can you give a wave? I see some hands out there. If you'd like, please stand and briefly introduce yourself. John will bring the microphone to you so those on YouTube can hear what you're saying. You are under no obligation to say anything. I know I would be terrified to get up, and, even though I'm standing here. But.
We've got brave souls right here.
Hi, my name is Michael McNett. I'm from the UU Church at Lake Country in Wisconsin, about a half an hour west of Milwaukee.
And I'm Mike's wife, Lois, and normally I'm a worship associate, so I'm feeling perfectly comfortable standing here.
Get my exercise this morning.
Good morning. We're Carol and Dennis Shaw. We live in Yorktown, Virginia, where we're members of the UU Fellowship there. And we're pleased to be here this morning.
I gotta squeeze around. I'm gonna squeeze past you, Kelly. I feel like I'm on a game show or something.
Hi, my name is Ann Decker. I just moved here from Clearwater, where I was a member of UUC. And I'm living now at Westminster Palms. I've only been there not even 2 weeks. It's a challenge to move, but I'm happy to find this congregation. And what I did at UUC was, I'm a retired ESL teacher. We developed a refugee program tutoring for really for Iraqi and Syrian refugees. So I'll be curious to know what goes on down here, if there's a refugee group. Anyway. Nice to be here. Nice to see this crowd.
I'm Millie Jones, and I moved to Clearwater about 2 years ago, but never made it here until Christmas Eve, and I really enjoyed that service. And it took Ann moving down here for me to get the push to come on Sunday morning. And I'm also a member of UU in Clearwater. But I hope to become active here.
Hi, I'm Eileen Wright. I am a UU from Ann Arbor, Michigan, and belong to the church there. I'm a snowbird. I was coming here before COVID and then took a break. So I'm happy to be back. I've been participating in the Snowbird Covenant group, which has been great for me. So I'm here now. Thanks.
Good morning, everybody. It seems like there's a lot of new people. I thought I might be the only one. I'm from Philadelphia. I was a member of the USG in Germantown, and I moved here right before COVID and didn't come during COVID, so I'm really glad to be here this morning.
Thank you.
Well, it's great to see new faces from near and far, but also all those familiar faces that I get to look out at. Thank you for silencing your cell phones. Our evolving safety protocol is designed to protect the most vulnerable, and masks are strongly encouraged but optional in our worship service. Let's take a moment to greet our neighbor. Remember to get consent if you're going to hug or shake their hand.
Hey, Bill. Our flaming chalice with its origins as an image of freedom during World War II is a symbol of Unitarian Universalism. It is a symbol of hope, the sacred, the quest for truth, the warmth of community, the light of reason, and really so much more. When Bill lights our chalice, I invite you to say our covenant out loud. The words can be found in the text chat or in your order of service. Feel free to follow along with the two hand movements, which somebody will demonstrate because I never remember them. So. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Now please rise as you are willing and able for our first hymn. It's number 323 in the gray hymnal, Break Not the Cycle. And that will be followed by David doing the Time for All Ages.
Break not the circle of enabling love, where people grow forgiven and forgiving. Break not the circle, make it wider still, till it includes and embraces all the living. Come wonder at this love that comes to life, where words of freedom are with humor spoken, and people keep no score of wrong and guilt, but will that human bonds remain
If there's any kids today, can you come forward, please?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Very nice to be here. Hi, guys. How's it going, guys and gals? All right. That's what I'm talking about. My name's David, and I'm very pleased to finally be coming here after we've been planning something like this for 2 or 3 years. So this is the time for all ages. Does anybody feel like they don't belong in that category? Excellent. This is time for all ages. So I'm a songwriter, and I live in New England. I live on Cape Cod. My mother was born in Newark, so I have New Jersey roots. In 1947, Gloria was the penmanship champion of the state of New Jersey. So when I go to New Jersey, I'm kind of like royalty there, just in a funny kind of way, you know. But I got a phone call from a friend of mine in New Jersey who said, will you come to our school, our elementary school, and I want to do a project about what the term community means, you know, what it's like to be in community. So I said, absolutely. She said, and I'd like you to pick a grade that you'd like to work with to write a song in one day with 92 kids. You pick the grade, K through 5. Well, you know, I love words, as some of you found out last night, and I wanted the most sophisticated kids with the best vocabulary. I said, give me those 5th graders. And she said, really? I said, oh yeah. And then I thought about this for a couple days, and I realized in my schoolwork with 5th graders that that's about the time they're turning away. Too cool for all this stuff. So I called Amy Blake back, who I'm still friends with today, and I said, could you push me back to the 3rd grade? And she said 3 words, good decision, Dave. So I came in and I had 4 classes of 3rd graders. Anybody here in the 3rd grade down below? Any of you guys in 3rd grade? Okay, we got a 3rd grader and probably some older. So what grade are you in? 5th grade? Whew! Okay, I make my case. And you're in 5th grade? See, they're off to the side going, why did we walk up here? They said anybody who wants to, but that's okay. So I had to figure out how to write a song, and the assignment was what to be about community. So I had 4 periods, so I broke it down into 4 questions for the day, sort of like Passover, but different, if you get my meaning. First period, I asked the kids, what does the word community mean to you? So I would ask any of you down here, when you hear the word community, what do you think of? What's one thing you might think of when you hear the word community? Anybody? Ah, perfect. Togetherness. And we made a long list that included things like ice cream truck and, you know, playing in the park. So, great. Second period, I asked the next group of kids, what is everything okay in the world these days? Any input on that? Kids? Yeah, what do you got to say? Is everything okay in the world today? No? Because everyone's littering, for example. Perfect. So we made a long list that I could still be making today of things that aren't quite right in the world. The third question is, you ready for the third question? What's one specific thing you could do today to make the world a better place? You know, like a specific thing. Anybody? And I'll take a hand from the audience. What's a specific thing? One kid said, you know, I won't hit my sister, you know, so. How about from you out there? What's one thing you could do to make the world a better place? Somebody raised their hand and shouted out loud. I know there's an extra. All right, over here on the far. Buy stuff that lasts a long time and won't go in the trash soon. I love that. That's the kind of thing. Was there another hand here? Yeah, Lori. Sing. It could happen if I stop talking. So, fourth period. Now, this gets a little more esoteric. Where do we go from here? And they need a little help with that one, but I steered them in the direction of what do we do now? So, at the end of the day, we had a song called We Belong Together. We wrote the chorus. I'm going to teach it to everybody, and you can sing. If I were your choral director, I'd say sing at the top of your lungs in no particular key, because I think it's how it feels, you know, not necessarily how it sounds to somebody else, because there's judges and critics and comparers and all that stuff in the world. So you've entered the zone of no wrong notes here this morning. So we wrote our chorus, and the kids contributed all the words, and we loved the song so much at the end of the day, I said, I'm going to start singing this song, and I have been for years, and I'm going to send it to the President of the United States. They said, you can do that? I said, yeah, I even know the address. I do. I had to look up the zip code. And we sent it off to the president, and we got a letter back from the president, which is now in a glass case at Hartshorn Elementary High School in Short Hills, New Jersey. We got stickers and decals and pictures of the White House dogs. President Bush had a couple of black curly-haired terriers. They sort of looked like charred fire hydrants in that picture, but they sent us a picture of their dogs, and we now sing. You ready to learn the chorus? Take a look at the person right next to you and say, I can't wait to hear you sing. All right. Here's the chorus. We belong together. We'll be friends forever. Will we fight? No, never. Because we belong together. That's the whole thing. Let's try it together. We belong together. We'll be friends forever. We'll be friends forever. Will we fight? No, never. Will we fight? No, never. Because we belong together. First verse, some similarities. We belong. Thank you. And we'll be friends. We may not live in the same town, but we live in the same world, and our world has some problems. War, hunger, pollution, bad guys, hatred, disasters. We have to find a way. Why? Because we belong together. We'll be friends forever. We'll be friends forever. Will we fight? No, never. We fight? No, never. Because. And we have different traditions. And we have different religions. And we have different opinions. And we have different names. Still. We'll be friends forever. We'll be friends forever. Will we fight? No, never. Will we fight? No, never. Because we belong together. We'll make sandwiches for hungry people. We'll pick up our garbage and recycle. We'll send cards to people who need them. We'll make friends instead of war. Sing! Belong together, so I won't be mean, I'll be kind. I'll leave all that bad stuff behind. I'll be trustworthy and open up my heart, and that's where the changes will start. Because we belong together, we'll be friends forever. We'll be friends forever. Will we fight? No, never. Will we fight? No, never. Because we belong. Let's sing that chorus one more time, and we belong together. We'll be friends forever. We'll be friends forever. Will we fight? No, never. Will we fight? No, never. Because we belong together. Don't you know it's true that we belong together? No matter what they tell you, we belong together. Don't you know it's true that we belong together? Okay, kids, thanks for coming up. Thank you.
And now we'll go ahead and sing the children out. And Karen Cole has a few words to say about a wonderful activist that recently passed.
If you can't hear me, raise your hands, okay? Former UU St. Pete member and grassroots activist Winnie Foster passed away this past week at age 95. She is well known in the community for her activism. In the 1970s, she founded the Sojourner Truth Center for Citizen Empowerment. And through this nonprofit, Winnie raised awareness of voting rights for all, environmental sustainability, and organic and community gardening. She also worked through many organizations throughout the years, including the ACLU, the NAACP, Sustainable Urban Agriculture Coalition, and the League of Women Voters, which is where I got to know her. Winnie accomplished so much. But there's one memorable event that all of us will not forget. On her 92nd birthday, she was arrested at the Pinellas County Jail, protesting against the disappropriate number of young males of color that end up incarcerated before the age of 21. Winnie lived her values and was quite the role model for many of us. Thank you.
Now we come to the time in our worship service for joys, sorrows, and concerns. This service is being brought to you via YouTube Live, so please type your joys and sorrows into the text chat. If you have a joy, sorrow, or concern to submit during the week, please write to Reverend Ben at minister@uustpete.org. If you would prefer to remain off YouTube, let him know when you submit it. And right now, Karen White will collect any joys, sorrows, and concerns cards and hand them to us up at the front. And Rebecca Wilson will place a stone in the water for each one that was submitted this week.
So our first stone is from Todd Wellman. Today marks what would have been the 50th anniversary of the 1973 Supreme Court decision in Roe versus Wade. It's challenging at times, but let's keep working to ensure pro-choice support.
And a stone of sorrow from Reverend Ben's friend Jeannie in Alabama, who attends worship via YouTube Live. Jeannie says, I have been struggling this week. I've been getting very sad midday to late evening for no reason.
A stone of joy from Karen Cole. This week, and from a lot of people actually, this week, two very dedicated UU St. Pete members, Reggie Craig and Sabina Van Alek, were interviewed on TV station Channel 8 regarding their work in combating rising homelessness in Pinellas County. Groundbreaking occurred on Thursday for their second tiny home. A round of applause for their leadership and perseverance.
And a stone of joy from Jade Johnson. My stone of joy is for doing art and also doing clay and science.
Yay, women in science. A stone of joy from Susan Benor. Seeing how so many people contributed and volunteered for the David Roth concert, it makes me so grateful and happy to realize that such generosity comes from love for this church and one another.
And a stone of concern for the continued assault on education waged by Governor DeSantis. He recently banned advanced placement African American history, claiming it significantly lacks educational value and violates state law. His Board of Education approved training that forces educators to avoid books on race and LGBTQIA+ people. This harms everyone in our state.
Can you tell we're brothers? If he gets choked up, it makes me get choked up. It's terrible. The next concern and sorrow is from Nancy Milchamp. The gun violence that took the lives of 10 people yesterday in the California community as Asian Americans as they celebrated the Lunar New Year. We call for an end to gun violence in our country.
May we bring to mind and hold close to our hearts all those known and unknown who are facing health concerns. May we also continue working for universal health care in this nation, so no one need worry about the financial burden in receiving needed health care. May all who are facing challenges find a comforting presence in the warmth of fellowship and community. And we will place a final stone for those joys and concerns that remain in our hearts, perhaps too tender to be spoken out loud. Let's take about a minute of silence together. How quiet it is with all of us here. It's very peaceful. The mystery is that we are connected even when we feel apart. Let us rejoice in our beloved community that makes of the many one. So may it be.
As we come around to take our places at the table, a moment to remember and reflect upon our wealth. Here's to loving friends and family, and here's to being able to gather here together in good company and health. And may we be released from all those feelings that would harm us. May we have the will to give them up and get them gone. For heavy are the satchels, full of anger and false promise. May we have the strength to put them down. May the light of love be shining deep within your spirit. May the torch of mercy clear the path and show the way. May the horn of plenty sound so everyone can hear it. May the light of love be with you every day. And may we wish the best for everyone that we encounter. May we swallow pride and may we do away with fear. For it's only what we do not know that we have grown afraid of, and only what we do not choose to hear. May the light of love be shining deep within your spirit. May the torch of mercy clear the path and show the way. May the horn of plenty sound so everyone can hear it. May the light of love be with you every day. And as we bless our daily bread and drink our day's libation, may we be reminded of the lost and wayward soul, the hungry and the homeless that we have in every nation. May we fill each empty cup and bowl. May nothing ever come between or threaten to divide us. May we never take for granted all the gifts that we receive, being ever mindful of the unseen hands that guide us and the miracles that cause us to believe. May the light of love be shining deep within your spirit. May the torch of mercy clear the path and show the way. May the horn of plenty sound so everyone can hear it. May the light of love be with you every day. May the light of love be with you every day. Thank you, the Supreme Sunday Morning Choir. And a good morning to you all. I'm very honored to be here. We've been trying to do this for about 2 or 3 years. My friends John and James are friends of mine from Cape Cod, where I now live. I've been living there about 20 years, and I had the honor and pleasure of meeting them early on, and got to see their beautiful work and personas in our great community up in New England. So I imagine there are those of you who have not heard me before either sing or speak. Could I see a show of hands, first-timers this morning, on what we call Planet Dave? That's just about everybody. Okay. That's about average, actually, now that I think of it. So to start off my talk today, which is One World, Many Concerns, thank you for the very broad brushstroke. That gives a lot of leeway, doesn't it? One world, many concerns, and I heard so many in the sorrows, for example, breaks my heart to hear some of these things. But 13 years ago, a fan letter poured in to world headquarters of David Roth Music, which is the upstairs bedroom in our house in Orleans. And it was written by a 9-year-old girl who was dragged to one of my concerts against her will. She'd never heard me before, like most of you, and somehow was compelled to come. Her parents brought her, and I thought, oh gosh, this poor 9-year-old, having listened to a baby boomer singing songs he wrote himself, for over the period of a couple hours with a merciful break in between. So about a month later, I got a letter from her dad, Grant, who was an old friend of mine, and he said, David, I just found this on my desk. It was Atlantis school report about your concert, and I thought you'd get a kick out of it. I mentioned this was 13 years ago. I have read this only at every single appearance for 13 years, whether it's a church on Sunday morning, a coffee house, and by the way, I'm happy not to be in a Unitarian Universalist church basement at a coffee house. I'm happy to be at sea level today. My career is having a rising trajectory. This is Alana Baldwin's school report about her experience of
David Roth. I got to say, I love the title she gave to the report. It's called David Roth. Okay, there we go. David Roth is my hero. Because he writes songs, great singer, guitar player, and sang at my parents' wedding, which I did. David Roth writes funny songs and inspiring songs. The funny songs make people that are even down in the dumps laugh. His inspiring songs like Yes We Can, Practice Makes Progress. Did anybody say perfect? I am here to celebrate imperfection this morning, so I've carefully inserted 11 mistakes into my talk so that I don't have to bear the burden of a flawless presentation. Will you celebrate imperfection with me? Thank you. Amen. His funny songs make people that are even down in the dumps laugh. His inspiring songs like Yes We Can, Practice Makes Progress. Oh, that's t-shirt worthy. And some others make me have confidence, courage, C-O-R-A-G-E, and encouragement. I know, right? A woman in the third row went, oh, I knew exactly what she meant, but she sent the word encouragement, and I immediately adopted this word into my lexicon because I love it. So if you were to gain access to the David Roth Imaginary Digital Dictionary, you can gain access by enabling cookies, or by sending me cookies. You would see encouragement, to have cooge. But if you stared at this word for 10 seconds, you would see what cooge could be interpreted as. Courage without the rage. So Alana gave me a great gift from which I extrapolated that. So there are times for my rage, and I try to employ courage without the rage when I can, because for me, that's more constructive. She continues, David Roth has been playing guitar and singing for over 20 years. He is tall, skinny, and has gray hair. 13 years ago. I'm amazed that even how old he is, he can still get all the high notes. John's going, eh. In conclusion, David Roth sang at my parents' wedding. Repetition is important for baby boomers. He sang his song, Rising in Love. I'm happy about that because it's my mom's favorite song, of his at least. David Roth is my hero because he can make anyone laugh, inspire anyone, and sang at my mom and dad's wedding. There you go. So that's all you need to know. If anybody tells you there's no politics in guns, and that now is not the time to change the laws, just meet the gaze of those who've lost family and friends, and tell me how we justify the cause. It's well and good to send out loving thoughts and loving prayers, but by now these thoughts and prayers are not enough. All the good intentions and the cries to make a change must be followed up with action and rebuff. So change the laws, change the laws, change the contract, change the clause, change the mind and change the cause. Change the laws, change the laws. If politicians say do not politicize these things or get caught up in the moment or in haste, I say it's precisely what we need to speak about before another single life is wasted. So change the laws, change the laws, change the contract, change the clause, change the mind and change the cause. Change the laws, change the laws. I will not be silenced, though the silencers abound. I will not be led by those opposed to common ground.
If anybody tells you there's no politics and guns, they're the ones who know that money runs the show. And as long as nothing changes, they'll be happy and content. And they'll do their best to keep the status quo. So change the laws, change the laws, change the contract, change the clause, change the mind, and change the cause. Change the laws, change the laws, change the mind, and change the cause. Change the laws, change the laws. So I mentioned living on Cape Cod for 20 years. And you know that song? It sounds like I wrote it this morning, doesn't it? But I wrote that song with my friend Roger Tomhave 6 years ago. I'm tired of singing it. Anyway, back at World Headquarters, I got a phone call. I'd been running an open mic. I've been running an open mic on Cape Cod. You all familiar with what that is? It's kind of a forum where anybody in a community can come and tell a story, read a poem, sing a song. They get 5 minutes, and we would meet at the Brewster Ladies Library, the public library, one town over from where I live in Orleans on the Cape. So I started this open mic in 2005, and it was just kind of a one-off. It was going to be on the full moon. I met with a couple of gentlemen who ran this little cafe in Orleans, and my wife and I were having coffee in there one morning, and I walked up to them and I said, John and Steve, my name's David Roth. I'm about to make you an offer you can't understand. And they said, what? I said, how would you like to have absolutely free a night of community music in your little cafe? And before I even went on, they grabbed each other and said, we've always dreamed of how we could have music in our little place here. And I said, I am your man. Because I spent the 80s in New York City going to open mics on Monday night in Greenwich Village with my friends Sean Colvin and Suzanne Vega, and right on down the list. We were all taking our numbers and taking our lumps. You know, that's where I cut my teeth doing this sort of thing and writing songs. So I said, yeah, we'll have an open mic. And they said, what's that? I said what I told you. And they said, that sounds fantastic. So we looked at the calendar and we saw a date that was open for them, and they were willing to stay open late one night because it was breakfast and lunch usually. And it had a circle on it printed on the calendar indicating a full moon. So I said, yeah, we'll call it the Full Moon Open Mic. You know, how great could that be? And they said, we love it. So we put out the word. I said, not one penny to be spent. Let's just put the word out and see if anybody comes. There were about 10 tables, 20 chairs, and about 50 or 60 people showed up. And when I saw all these people piling in, I grabbed a clean, empty 5-gallon paint bucket from the back of my Honda out front, and I scribbled a note that said, free will donations for Habitat for Humanity of Cape Cod. Great. I figured maybe, you know, and the winter people on Cape Cod are hardworking people. They try to make their year's worth of money from the tourist business in the summer between Memorial Day and Labor Day and make that money last through the winter. You know, the housekeepers, the restaurant workers, the hotel workers, the plumbers, electricians, carpenters, the list goes on, landscapers. And so, you know, extra money is not in abundance necessarily. And I was hoping I could send Habitat like $50 the next day after 16 courageous people showed up, including a poet named Crowbar. I never forgot him. He was a 17-year-old kid. That's what the open mic is for, to give a voice to the unheard, the voiceless, the people who don't have a chance to do that anywhere else. So at the end of the night, it was a great night. We looked in the bucket and there wasn't $50. Over $200. Crumpled bills, coins. Some of those coins are still in that bucket because the Full Moon Open Mic is 17 years old now. And we've donated our voluntary collection to a different nonprofit on the Cape. And in that little bucket, you know, from our little gatherings where we just gather for the sake of sharing art and freedom of speech, over $16,000 cumulatively
that we've been able to send $200 to hospice and palliative care, AIDS support group, Special Olympics, animal shelter, women's shelter in Hyannis, Cape Cod cares for our troops, it was interesting to explore all the nonprofits, and we haven't gotten to nearly all of them, just on our little island that looks like an arm. Go figure. So I get a phone call at World Headquarters. Hey, is this David Roth? I said, yes. He said, well, you don't know me, but my name's John, and I've been coming to your open mics, and I really love them. And I have a question for you. I've got a bunch of teenagers at risk here in our low-income housing community. And I wonder if you'd come out to consider doing a songwriting workshop with these teenagers. And I put my hand over the phone and I thought, teenagers and folk music. Is he out of his mind? John, I'm a very positive person, mindfully optimistic. But I got to say, when I put teenagers together in a phrase with folk music, the first phrase that comes out of my mouth is, yes, I'll do it. Did you say yes? I said, absolutely. And you know what happened. My heart was speaking before my mind kicked in. And it was over the phone, and he couldn't see me going, this guy's out of his mind. I can't do that. So he said, that's great. I thought you'd say no. I said, why would I do that? So we set it up for around just before Thanksgiving that year. And he called me up a week ahead and said, I got 14 teenagers signed up. I said, fantastic. But I was willing to do the only thing I know how to do, show up and be present in the moment as best as I can. Because if I think about the past or I project onto the future, that's what one of my teachers, Byron Katie, says is the only way to suffer, is to think about the past and the future. And she adds, but only 100% of the time. So I would show up for these kids and let's see what happens. So I showed up that day to the common room. There were 15 chairs in a circle, 1 for me, 14 for the kids. Not one of the teenagers showed up. The chairs were full. The preteens, 6 years old to 12, had heard there was going to be music in the common room. They never had much stuff. And they weren't in their chairs. They were on the edge of their seats when I walked in. Are you the music man? I said, yes. What are we going to do today? Well, I said, my name's David. I'm a songwriter. Would you guys like to spend the next hour writing a song together, kids? Yeah, that's what they said. 14 kids. How many hands went up? 28. Exactly right. She said 14. So. And I said, my idea today is how to write a song about how to make the world a better place. And they loved that idea, and I loved them immediately because they could step out of the frame they were in to see the bigger picture. So I gave them all a pad and a pen that they could keep, got them a clearance rack at one of the office supply superstores on my way there, where I'm trying to figure out how I could inhabit the present moment, about an hour from then. And I asked them to write down an idea of how to make the world a better place, and dang it, 45 minutes later, we had a song. Now, Woody Guthrie would have been about 100 years old around this time, so in his spirit, we made it what's called a call and response song. So, you don't have to know this song, but are you ready to sing with me? Take another look at that person. I can't wait to hear you sing with David right now. And here's our song. And I love those kids. Here we are, here today, here to sing, here to play, make this world a better place for me and you and the human race. If you had a bad day, you can turn it around, play some tunes, crank up the sound, hand in hand, lost and found, turn your frown upside down. Oh, know that we can be ourselves. Oh, that's a great word, kids, but what are we going to rhyme with selves? Let's try to find a rhyme here. And I said, I'm going to need a minute on this one. And the kids said, no, Mr. Roth, so what do you rhyme with selves, kids? That's what they said, elves. So I said, okay, hold on. And they said, no, we got this. So I sang, know that we can be ourselves. They sang, wizards, fairies, ninjas, warlocks, and elves.
14 kids, pretty neat. Let's write this song, and then let's eat. Let's have some fun in the sun. Love our world, love our town. Let's go green, save the bees, save the whales, save the trees. Oh, let's have some chicken pot pie. Oh, that's another nice word, kids. What are we going to rhyme with pie? Sky, I, my. Lots of suggestions, but a little 10-year-old boy raised his hands. I never forgot him. He wore glasses and sang one of the greatest lines to any song I've ever heard. I wish I'd have thunk it. I sang, let's have some chicken pot pie. He sang, we'll have lunch with the FBI. Then we can fly in the sky. My, oh my, everybody, FBI. And here we see a turkey giving thanks for you and me. 'Cause we won't eat him today. Vegetarian's okay. Move around a disco dance. Take a risk and take a. May you have a perfect feast, and may our world have perfect peace. Here we are, here today, here to sing, here to play, make this world a better place for me and you and the human race. For me and you and the human race. Right here on earth, in outer, thank you, for me and you and the human race. I love that song. I've been singing it for years. And about a month later, John called me up and said, hey, Dave, we love that workshop. The kids are still buzzing. I say, so am I, John. And then he said, yeah, the teenagers heard about it. And he's originally from New York. I said, yes. And he said, yeah, now they want a piece of the action. That's a whole nother talk and a whole nother morning about what happened after that. For the last 4 years, Guadalupe checked in to the Phoenix office of immigration. Both of her kids, U.S. born. But everything changed the day they took her away. In the home of the brave, in the land of the free, we are immigrants and pilgrims and refugees from every nation, one family. When you come for Guadalupe, you come for me. For the last 2 years, Kamal made his rounds. Interfaith Medical Center in New York City. He went to Sudan to visit his mom. But everything changed. He couldn't come back. He was stranded in the home of the brave, in this land of the free. We are immigrants and pilgrims and refugees from every nation, one family. When you come for Kamal, you come for me. me. Give me your tired, your poor huddled masses. This is America built by dreamers, yearning to breathe free. If I had to leave my country, what would I do? If the way I dressed was a trigger for you, if I'm not welcome here, where would I go? Could I sail away on an unknown ocean of hope? In the home of the brave, in the land of the free, we are immigrants and pilgrims and refugees from every nation, one family. When you come for Guadalupe, for Kamal, when you come for my neighbor, you come for me.
So I've got one more song to wrap up the reflection portion of this morning. I thank you for your kind attention and all the people who helped make it possible against some odds. Against some odds. Mark Twain said, actions speak louder than words, but not nearly as often. And Benjamin Franklin said, well done is better than well said. So you see what I'm getting at here. My marching orders for myself going forward are what can I do for the world today? Not just only importantly sending thoughts and prayers, but what the third part of that is to take action in some way. And as Joan Baez, one of my own, one of my sheroes, said, action is the antidote to despair. So if any of you are out there like me, ready for some change in the world, I invite you to sing this next song that you've never heard before. Again, call and response. Call and response, all right? So thank you again. I'm very humbled and feeling very emotional. I'm ready for change. I'm ready to move. There's no one to blame. There's too much to do. I'm ready to go. To get back on track. It's time to move on, and there's no turning back. It's my sacred job to strike some kind of chord, to challenge and help, not dismiss or ignore. Everyone gets a chance with nothing to prove. And when I do my part, then the mountain will move.
passion and purpose, and we can achieve a high promise of truth and fight for what's fair, to see that all people get their fair share. So I'm ready for change, I'm ready to go. It's long overdue, and a debt that we owe. Everyone gets a chance with nothing to prove, and when I do my part, then the mountain will move. When I do my part, then the mountain will move. I'm ready for change.
Thank you, David. We have benefited from the monetary efforts and contributions of previous generations. We follow in their footsteps and plant trees knowing that we might not be the ones who see their grandeur. May today's offering be one of the many ways in which our hands and the intentions of our hearts manifest our love for one another and the world. The link to give online is in the description box below your screen. You can also donate through the Vanco Faith Engagement mobile app or on our website under the Giving tab at uustpete.org, or send a check to the church office. In the sanctuary, the offering will now be given and received. Our closing hymn is number 318 in our gray hymnal, "We Would Be One." Please rise as you are willing and able. Now feel free to join along with the hand gestures as John extinguishes our chalice. The words of UUSP's traditional chalice extinguishing are in your order of service and online in the text chat. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of courage. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world. Please remain seated as Aaron plays our postlude. Our closing words are from a UU church in New Jersey. Let us keep opening our eyes to see what is beautiful. Let us keep opening our minds to learn what is true. Let us keep opening our hearts to love one another. Please join us for coffee hour in Gilmore Hall, then come back here in 10 minutes for our town hall meetings. Blessings.